Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, Continuing the draft coverage, continuing my series of reacting to what went down in the NBA draft on Wednesday night. Today we're moving on to the Miami Heat and talking about their selection of Precious Achiuwa and what it means for their franchise moving forward. However, before I get into it, I want to remind you to leave a like and subscribe. I appreciate all the support. It helps me out because I get support, and it helps you out because you get all the more basketball content. So it's a win-win for both of us, so why not leave a like and subscribe? However, without further ado, let's talk about the Miami Heat and their selection of Precious Achiuwa. Precious is a big guy, attended Memphis this past year, freakish athlete, one of the better defensive players in this draft, super versatile, can guard multiple positions, is a pretty good rim protector, and like I said before, is mobile and laterally quick enough to keep some wings in front of him, so he's switchable. On offense, that's where the questions come. He can't really shoot it at this point. He views himself as a better playmaker and ball handler than he actually is, and it leads to him making numerous poor decisions and pushing the ball up the court as kind of a point forward when he probably shouldn't, trying to force plays that he shouldn't try to make, and at times it bit him in the butt. And that's when he was playing at Memphis against teams in the American Athletic Conference. What happens when he's playing for the Miami Heat against NBA teams? I think that it's going to take time for him to develop. They're going to have to completely reconstruct the way he views himself. In the NBA, he's going to be a five-man who fits into a versatile switching scheme. I don't think that he's going to play a whole lot this season, as he needs to continue to develop himself on the offensive end of the floor. He has to continue to get a better jumper. He has to continue to handle the ball better. And really, he has to learn how he's going to fit into the crux of an NBA offense. I think he might be a guy who needs to spend some time in the G League in order to develop and try to get a better understanding of the type of player that he is. However, I'm not willing to bet against him because he got drafted by the Miami Heat, who are a developmental juggernaut. They're great at turning players into the best and optimal version of themselves. We've seen it with Kendrick Nunn, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Bam Adebayo. It's happened numerous times, and I think that this is a chance that we could see it again. I really don't love this pick because I don't know that he will ever even really start a whole lot of games in a Miami Heat jersey, because he's going to be playing behind Bam Adebayo even once he is ready to play in the NBA. He's not a guy who I view as a franchise changer. I think he's more of a guy who's going to be a energetic backup center, maybe a Montrezl Harrell type, who can maybe stretch the floor a bit better than Montrez and is a more versatile defender. So I think he'll be better than Montrezl Harrell, but maybe not by a whole lot. Like we saw with Montrez, while his energetic basketball playing self is super valuable in the regular season, it fades a bit in the playoffs, and I also don't think that Precious Achiuwa is the pick-and-roll beast that Montrez is. So it's a difficult comparison there, but I don't know that this is the right fit for him. I don't think that he's going to be able to play the four because I don't trust his perimeter game. He really can't shoot it, and on the perimeter he just makes bad decisions in general. This team already has a lock at the 5 position in Bam Adebayo, so unless they're playing Precious at the 5 and Bam at the 4, where there's absolutely no floor spacing on the team with Jimmy Butler, I don't think that this is a great fit for Precious. But I do think that there's a chance that he plays well for the Heat in a couple years down the line and continues to improve and ends up being a nice trade bait kind of guy that they end up shipping out in a package for a veteran. Outside of that, maybe this is an indication that this could be Kelly Olynyk's last season in a Heat jersey. If Precious is able to take over as the backup center following this year, then they could let Kelly walk. He did opt into his player option for the upcoming season, but he will be a free agent after this year, so there's a chance he could be gone, and that could be an indicator for the future. Overall, I'm just really surprised they didn't take Tyrese Maxey or someone like that. I think Maxey would have been a terrific fit with this team. He really would have been an optimal guy to play alongside Jimmy Butler as someone who could space the floor for Jimmy and really attack the closeouts that Jimmy's going to generate for him. But I don't hate the pick. I think I would give the Heat a C for their draft night. I don't think Precious Achiuwa is perfect for them, and I think there were better players on the board still, but I also think that they could have done a lot worse than Achiuwa. Now let's talk about this team a bit and what they're going to do in free agency. Obviously, you have numerous outgoing free agents: Goran Dragic, Solomon Hill, Myers Leonard, Jay Crowder, Udonis Haslem, Derek Jones. I think Myers Leonard is probably the safest bet to be gone at this point. They have so many big men on this roster: Bam Adebayo, Kelly Olynyk, Precious Achiuwa, Chris Silva, KZ Okpala. They don't really need another big guy. And really what Myers Leonard does for them, Kelly Olynyk does better. So I think that they will be fine letting Myers walk. After that, the most likely guy to leave would probably be Solomon Hill. While he does bring a shooting stroke to the team and has some defensive versatility, he didn't get a whole lot of playing time outside of some spot minutes in the Eastern Conference Finals series against the Boston Celtics. So I'd be kind of surprised if they brought him back. I also don't think he's worth much more than the minimum, so if any team offers him a bigger contract than that, they should just let him walk. Derek Jones Jr. is a really interesting one to me because I do think that the Heat are a good home for him and he can continue to improve while playing with this team, but I don't know if they're going to have the money to keep him around. They want to keep the cap space open for next season, and I do think that it is quite likely that a team like Charlotte or New York or, who else has cap space? Maybe even like Phoenix. Any team with the mid-level, any young team with the mid-level exception should be offering that mid-level to Derek Jones, in my opinion, for multiple seasons. So unless the Heat are willing to give him a multi-year contract, I think that he will likely be gone. Then it gets to the interesting ones. Udonis Haslem, I should talk about first. He's going to be back in a minimum contract. We all know it. It's Udon. If he didn't retire, he's going to be on the Heat for the minimum. Goran Dragic and Jay Crowder are the two interesting guys, though. Dragic brings a lot of important skills to this team as a point guard who is a good playmaker, really good in the pick and roll, has some excellent chemistry with Bam Adebayo. Outside of that, he's a really good three-point shooter, shot the ball super consistent for this team in the playoffs, and was a consistent 20-point-per-game scorer for them. They're really going to need him and his production in order to get back to the NBA Finals next year, and if they're not able to bring him back, that's really going to be a big blow for them. Goran, if he does come back, it will likely be on a bloated one-year deal worth that pays him more than he's worth. But I do think that there is potential that we could see that happen just because the Heat understand his value. They understand what he means to their team, and they look to bring him back without ruining their 2021 cap space. Jay Crowder is kind of similar. I could see him getting paid more than he's worth. I think he probably will get the mid-level exception offered to him by a lot of teams. I can think of a few specifically that should have a lot of interest. The Portland Trail Blazers, Utah Jazz, Dallas Mavericks even. Lots of teams that need more wing depth should be looking into Jay Crowder. But in the end, if the Heat offer him more than that, I wouldn't be surprised to see him remain in South Beach. He's important to them as a versatile wing defender who can knock down corner threes at a decent rate. He needs to be more consistent there, as we saw him shoot great in a couple series in the playoffs. Against the Pacers and Bucks, he was lights out, but he struggled a bit more against the Celtics and Lakers. So if he can work out his consistency and continue to bring the effort and versatility he has on the defensive end of the floor, he's super valuable to them, and they should really look to bring him back. Out of the two, if I had to choose, I would probably go with Crowder just because I'm a bigger believer in Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn being able to develop in guys that are capable of taking on a lead guard type of role. But if something gets out of control with Crowder, I also think that bringing back Dragic would be a good option too. We also don't know about Andre Iguodala and how well he's going to age, so maybe bringing in Crowder is a necessity because they just need that wing depth. As of right now, Jimmy and Andre are the only real wings on this roster, unless you count Duncan Robinson. Well, yeah, Duncan Robinson's a wing, but I think the wing depth is one of the more important things in the NBA, so Jay should be a guy that they look to retain. In terms of outcoming or incoming free agents that were on other teams last year, I really think Paul Millsap is the guy that the Heat should target. He could play both big man positions for them, either whether it's as a starter or as a backup. He can even shift down to the small forward in some lineups if they want to go with a humongous lineup with like Jimmy Butler at the 2, Millsap at the 3, Adebayo at the 4, and Kelly Olynyk at the 5. That could be terrifying, but he would be the guy that I would look to bring in if I were Miami from other teams. A couple other options that are on cheaper deals. Etuan Moore could be very valuable as he brings the shooting that this team so much values. I don't know. I don't have too many others outside of that. Chris Dunn would be interesting as a guy who can really defend well at the point of attack. He would help improve this team there, as that's a spot where they really struggle. Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Goran Dragic, none of those guys are really good defenders from the guard positions, so Nunn would be a big improvement for them there. But really, the focus for them needs to be bringing back Dragic and or Crowder. Let me know in the comments section what you think the Heat should do with free agency. Do you like the Precious Achiuwa pick, or do you think that they should have gone in a different direction? Let me know. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I think that's going to be it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you all again very soon.